Let's talk about the access that we currently have for local food products. You probably did the challenge and you saw that actually in your local supermarket there is not that many local food products as there could be. And why is that? Now, if we already discussed about the large corporations and we discussed about the monocultures and how it's more efficiently to actually use only a few crops and distribute them across countries, across borders. And this is where it all comes to start. Nowadays, we think that everything is available throughout the whole season of the years. And we think that because it is, and it is because of the current food system that we have, where if the pumpkin is not in season here in the Netherlands, and we just go to a country where it's in season and we bring it from there to here. And that's a whole issue within the food system, because this again brings so much pressure on the supply chain, but also actually brings you a pumpkin that has no quality, no vitamins, no minerals. It does not taste good because it's not in season and it needs to be harvested when it's not even ripe yet in order to survive throughout the entire way to come to you. The farmers, they are basically right now only requested to deliver certain things that match this global supply chain. This, for example, is we want to have one type of tomato. They should all have the same size, and we want to have it always cheaper than for 10 cents a kilogram. And the farmers, of course, because there's so much pressure from this food system, from these large corporations, they adjust to it. And if we look at small-scale farmers, one of the biggest reasons why they are currently going out of business is because the margins are simply too small. And this is because they can only farm a few varieties, and those varieties are always being asked to be very cheap so they can fit within the spectrum of global supply chain. Now, this is where the key role of chefs and sustainable food companies comes into place. The role of chef has evolved throughout the last 10 to 20 years. If you now look at Gordon Ramsay, Dan Barber, René Redzepi, many different chefs across the globe that are really speaking for a more sustainable food system. And what they do is actually they go into a dialogue with the farmer and see, okay, what can actually be done? What can you actually grow? What do we have as a variety here? And this is really where I think chefs and also sustainable food companies like our company, Farmed Today, really plays a key role. Because we have the opportunity that consumers don't have. Consumers are not able currently to just call a farmer and ask him, hey, can you grow a different type of potato for us? Because the farmer is like, oh, who are you? And if you only take 1 kilo of that potato, it won't help. It's not possible. However, if we have many chefs and food companies that talk to these farmers and actually that say, okay, we have a demand for different varieties, for new crops, for new fruits and vegetables, and we're willing to pay for it, then this gives an incentive to the farmers to actually start growing these. And this is what we can actually see what happened already with many small-scale farms that now started to supply only to selected restaurants and selected food companies, and that started to grow a large variety of local different crops that have not been needed before, but that are now needed again in the food system. And those farmers now are able to also afford a living again because they are able to not only grow way more different type of crops, but also they get higher margins for these type of crops as they are more special, more qualitative and more tasty. This here is a yellow Romanesco. It's something that maybe many of you have never seen before, because usually we only have this one type of Romanesco that's available in almost every supermarket across whole Europe. But this is what we can do if we talk again with the farmers and we ask them if they can actually give us different crops, if they can actually not farm for the convenience of supermarkets, but farm again for taste and flavor. So you can see actually this one here is yellow and not white. In many cases in the food system, actually the color comes directly from vitamins and minerals. So this one here has an extraordinary amount of vitamins and minerals which are within the crop itself that usually we don't even get access to anymore. Also, what we have are different types of pumpkins. They can be small, they can be big. Most important is that there is the variety again, that they are not treated by anything, no chemicals, and it's really a natural product. But also fresh herbs is also a big aspect. At Farm Today we realized that many herbs that we get in European supermarket actually come from North Africa, because there it's cheaper to grow them and the labor is cheaper, but it's a big decrease on the quality. And that's why we also work together with local farmers that produce these fresh herbs directly for us next to our company's warehouses, so we can get them directly fresh to our consumers. Same with different types of cresses. This here, for example, is a coriander cress. Cresses, or microgreens as they're called, have a great amount of vitamins and minerals. A very healthy product that's often overlooked in the food system, and that's actually also very hard to access for us consumers. We are also very proud to work together with different food companies that are in our surroundings that produce food products where we really believe in. Like this olive oil, for example, or the sauerkraut, where these companies, they have the same ideology like Farm Today, that really want to work with high qualitative, locally sourced ingredients, have a transparent supply chain, fair prices, fair margins for the producers, and be able to supply you with the tastiest, highest quality and local foods. There are some things that we really like to eat and drink, like coffee or tea, which can often not be produced locally. In these cases, it's very important for us that we still do it with a sustainable impact in mind. So these coffees, for example, we know exactly from where they're coming from, we know the farmers, and we know that there's a fair margins paid throughout the entire food supply chain. If we look at these single origin dried herbs and spices, for example, then it's very essential for us that we are able to provide our consumers actually with the information where exactly are these spices coming from, which farmer has grown them or produced them, and how much of the price that you pay actually goes back to the farmer, in order to ensure that we have a global, sustainable supply chain. So there's three things that I would like to challenge you here again. You probably often or have already tasted ginger, maybe in a ginger tea, ginger lemon tea. Try to find a ginger that is not grown in China and that you can buy in your local supermarket. Secondly, also next time when you go to the grocery store, actually write down how many countries are involved in your shopping process. When you come home and you have all the different produce, see actually where do everything comes from. And lastly, I would challenge you, go find a local farmer in your area, go visit him and buy something from him. And also do the same with a local baker.